What's a hobby you suggest everyone should take up to improve their mental health? Story 1, anything where you have to use both your hands so you don't go back to your phone, doom scrolling. Crochet, cross-stitch, knitting, making homemade dough, bread, pasta, pastries, anything that needs focus. Reading fiction, jigsaw puzzles. All of these apart from reading will have an end product that will allow a sense of accomplishment and pride. This helps a lot to handle emotions better, as well as not seeking others' people attention to fulfill a void they can't fill. Because the answer was any hobby giving you a sense of accomplishment, previously mentioned, as well as exercise challenges, just pushing on self outside of a comfort zone. Story 2, gardening. Hear me out. It's basically playing God on a tiny scale. You nurture these little green dudes, watch them grow, and if they die, hey, it's just a plant, not the end of the world. Plus, it's oddly satisfying to yell at weeds instead of people. Bonus, you might actually grow something edible and save a few bucks on produce. Just don't name your plants. Trust me on that one. Story 3, competitive dog grooming. Hear me out. You get to hang with pups, unleash your creativity, and nobody takes it too seriously. Plus, the mental gymnastics of justifying why you turned Fluffy into a living Picasso painting, that's therapy gold right there. Story 4, it's not one thing, but a trifecta. An introspective practice like meditation or journaling. Physical activities like hiking, running, or any other sport. And last, a creative practice like writing, painting, drawing, or whatever suits you. Introspection, physical activity, and creativity. This is the key. Story 5. Do one small productive project as soon as you wake up in the morning and get to done. Doesn't have to be big. Make your bed is the most reasonable thing, but there are others. The key is to start your day with a win. After I make my bed, I like to dust the furniture in my bedroom and sweep the floor. It makes a huge difference in my outlook for the day. Story 6. Gardening. It doesn't have to be extravagant. Just plant some potted plants, start them as seedlings, water them, talk to them, transplant them, and watch them grow. I love the bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds they attract. I worked outside my place 3 days this weekend and have a couple more days of transplanting to do, and I feel so much better. It's so therapeutic for me. I think I'm going to learn how to knit or crochet. I want to start making blankets for those in need. And if you're on a tight budget, walking or keeping a journal, or 5 daily gratitudes. Every day write down 5 things you are grateful for. I journal my #5DGs on Instagram. It's been a hot minute, but it doesn't have to be fancy or elaborate. Mine from Sunday are being able to garden. Perfect San Diego weather today. Amy's light spinach lasagna. Spending time with my girls. Even though I didn't reach my goal, I still walked more steps than yesterday. Just my 2 cents. Have a great day. Story 7. Anything that requires manual labor. Started dating a woman a few years ago who runs a horse barn. Never worked with or around horses. Almost 3 years later, I'm out there 7 days a week cleaning stalls, mending fences, building something, clearing bush and trees, and just getting done. I'm in better shape, I'm stronger, I feel great most days, and it takes a load of my partner so she can focus on running her business. Story 8, foraging, or to start with just species identification. Don't get me wrong, it requires a lot of research. Do not just start walking into the woods and eating whatever looks cool, but it gets you outside in nature and really forces you to pay attention to all the life around you and take in every detail. You'll gain a whole new appreciation for the beauty that is hiding right at your feet. It doesn't cost anything, and you end up with amazing ingredients you may never be able to cook with or taste otherwise. Please, please, please make sure you are 100% certain and have backed this up by cross-referencing with a number of different sources before eating anything. It's not worth dying over a mushroom, but contrary to popular belief, there are a number of species out there that are delicious, safe to eat, and very easy to identify. I've just started, and I'm being very cautious, but it unlocks a whole new perspective of nature that you just don't get from walking or hiking. At this time of year, you really can't go wrong with hedgehog fungus or porcini penny buns as ceps in the UK. I went out and found some on my first ever try and got some amazing photos too. If you don't feel confident eating what you find, just look and see if you can identify it at first. Story 9, lifting weights. Every time my MH plummets, if I can force myself back to the gym, it all just seems better. It's almost like meditation. The only goal is to pick the thing up. You focus on that one thing and forget everything else. The numbers go up. You succeed, and the effort is rewarded physically. It's great to put work in and get something at the end. The downside is it doesn't last if you stop, but that just means you know what you need to do. Story 10, guitar. Even if you don't want to make music or record, that's completely fine. Even if you never want to show anyone, that's completely fine. Guitars are just magical, though. After you build up those calluses, get a better posture, and can use your hands in a multitasking kind of way. Damn, look at that, you chose something hard but easy. You did something for your back and posture, and you helped your brain improve. Pretty damn magical even if no one hears. Story 11. Lifting heavy-ass weights. Nothing else like it. Want to feel powerful, capable, confident? Nothing primes those pumps like seeing your form improve dramatically over a few months, like coming to the weight you did last week and finding it surprisingly light, or like seeing yourself in the mirror after a year of consistent lifting. I should mention, to get the best results, you got to get good sleep as often as you can, eat enough protein, and be in at least a slight caloric surplus. The overall health benefits are way higher than people think, and compared to other forms of physical activity, lifting weights, when done correctly, has lower injury rates as well. Lift weights. You too, ladies, you will not look muscular in a masculine way unless you are try very, very hard for many, many years. So don't use that excuse. Lift weights. Story 12. For me, it was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and CrossFit. When I feel down or depressed, I go and do my activity and I feel better. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has helped me with stress management. I used to panic when things would get hard and nothing would be done. Now I can deal with issues calmly and solve issues without panicking. Story 13. Trying something new. Broaden your horizons, step out of your comfort zone. Go to a yoga class, attend Sunday service, go to a political rally, take a hike, watch Netflix all day, read a book, dress differently, be a day laborer at a constructing site, volunteer at a soup kitchen, sit in the median with a cardboard sign, travel to a foreign country, rob a bank. Making bad choices is better than making no choices at all. Story 14. Cooking. It's inherently generous because it's more efficient to cook for more people and economic as you buy things in bulk. You start to notice what other people like to eat and how they prefer to eat it. You develop your strategic skill as you consider what to cook when, how to store them, and when to buy fresh ingredients that are in season for better quality or cheaper prices. You develop problem-solving skills on how to correct mistakes in the kitchen and how to salvage leftovers. It's meditative. Sometimes watching food transform under heat is mesmerizing. Getting better at it brings a sense of pride and satisfaction. Seeing other people enjoy what I've made brings me joy. Perhaps it will for you too. Story 15. Gardening. It's not just about planting seeds, it's about nurturing life, watching it grow, and finding peace in the rhythm of nature. Each weed pulled is a small victory. Each blossom a reminder that beauty can flourish even in the toughest conditions. Plus, nothing beats the therapy of getting your hands dirty and connecting with the earth. You'll cultivate not just a garden, but also resilience and joy. Story 16. Got a few. Any kind of exercise that you enjoy enough to do regularly. Try and get 5,000 steps a day minimum. I know everyone says 10,000, but 5,000 is enough to be of benefit if you're sedentary. Also, some days 10,000 isn't going to happen, but 5,000 can almost always be squeezed in. Some kind of craft or skill that uses your hands and demands at least some focus. Sewing, knitting, painting, baking, jigsaws, an instrument. You get the idea. Anything that requires you to put down your phone and crack on. Story 17. Video games. You might freak out, but if I say Stardew Valley, suddenly people who played it will 99.9% agree. The right games for the right people work wonders on their mental health. And mental age, many video games keep older minds fresh and working. One of the things that kickstarted me out of a very depressive moment in my life was replaying an old Pokemon game. Story 18. Reading a book. I've been escaping into various worlds for years now, just by reading a book. Some are obviously better than others. You first find a genre that interests you, then start reading the first chapter via Amazon. Then when something catches your attention, you read it. It can be a digital book or a WoW book. Pro tip. When reading on digital, set a light yellowish background with brown lettering. At night, gray on black. They are easy on the eyes. Reading opens your imagination, allows you to become more literate. Make sure to look up definitions you don't know, and improves your patience. Once you begin reading, you can switch to reading the news too, which is completely different than watching it. You will be able to understand what fake news is eventually and not be force-fed what to believe. But everything starts with a good book. Currently, I am on page 1605 of approximately 13,500 pages of The Vampire System. Great story, but written by someone not fully competent in writing. That's okay, I can still enjoy the story. Story 19. At 46, after attending a family friend's child's birthday party at a roller rink, roller skating. It had been decades since I did last, and I found it to not only be good exercise, but just the hobby I needed. I had to concentrate on not falling so much that I absolutely couldn't focus on anything else. Story 20. I was gifted a 1,000-piece puzzle recently, Starry Night Van Gogh. It's been difficult, but surprisingly so great to get out of my own head. Make a drink you like. Turn on some good tunes, put your phone somewhere else, and just do the puzzle for however long feels right without distractions. Also, is it just me or does social media and being on your phone start to just make you feel sick? I'm over it, although not always easy to put it down. Thanks for posting. I loved looking through the responses to gather more ideas. Story 21, listen to music. And what I mean by listen to music is not just simply throwing Spotify on and lounging out on your phone. I mean, get yourself a good pair of headphones, sit in a quiet place, or a place you can focus and really listen to music. Listen to the sounds behind the song that people often miss. Sit with the lyrics and try to truly understand what the artist was trying to get across. Listen to music as the artist intended it, cover to cover. There's a lot of stories within music that people ignore, and you're selling yourself short by doing so. Story 22, biking or e-biking. Getting out of the house, even just for 30, 60 minutes, is refreshing and reminds you that life exists outside of the internet and work. It's easy to forget that and fall into frustration, anger, mental exhaustion, and all that. It's not viable for us up in the Northlands during winter unless you're brave. But in winter, I suggest winter sports like snowboarding, skiing, or snowshoeing. I really enjoy snowboarding. Let's be honest, most of us hit the mountain to do 20% winter sports and 80% socializing, eating, drinking, and just being out of the house anyway. We hit the slopes a little while, then go eat, go back outside, chat with people, hit the slopes a little while, go eat dinner, then drink and sit around the cozy lounge the rest of the night. Story 23. I think that any hobby, which is really a hobby, not just mindless time spending, is great improvement. I.e., being passionate about cinematography is different than just staring at Netflix for a few hours. Anything that makes you genuinely happy and about what you keep on wanting to learn more or be better at it. Story 24, photography as a means to... Since I picked up photography outside of seeing it as a holiday activity, I have improved my mental health and activity a lot. You start seeing your environment in a different way, and you'll be drawn to get out and about for the purpose of photography instead of just for shopping, etc. Story 25. Gardening is an activity that has been shown to considerably boost mental health. Interacting with flora and nature can be really healing. It gives people a sense of purpose, promotes mindfulness, and allows for physical activity, all of which can help alleviate stress and anxiety. Gardening also provides a pleasant experience as you see your efforts blossom and flourish. Whether you have a little balcony or a backyard, caring for a few potted plants can improve your health. Story 26. The best hobby for mental health? Start a journal. It's like having a therapist who listens without judgment and never charges you per hour. Pour your thoughts onto the page, and suddenly chaos transforms into clarity. You'll learn more about yourself with every inked sentence, and when the storm inside calms, you'll find a resilience you never knew you had. It's not just writing, it's rediscovering your own narrative. Story 27, journaling. It's like having a conversation with your soul where you spill the thoughts you're too afraid to say out loud. You'll discover parts of yourself you didn't know existed, and sometimes the pen knows the truth before you do. Plus, it's a safe space to vent, dream, and reflect, all without judgment. In a world that often feels chaotic, writing can be your grounding force. Story 28, low-maintenance person here. Find a good workout partner, swim, box, racquetball. Journal, what do you like about yourself? What good things did you do for yourself today? Go outside once a day or every 2 days. Walk, bike, snowshoe. Knitting is extremely easy and has a meditative rhythm to it. Make playlists of your favorite songs. Find a really good book that interests you. Story 29. I'm a recent recovering alcoholic and I feel the draw to nature for help with my anxiety and depression. I recently took up metal detecting and prospecting. I've been actually getting out of the house every moment I can to go out and hunt some treasure. It has made me so happy and at peace with recovery. I highly recommend getting a hobby that can get you into nature. It is soothing for your soul. Story 30. I suggest running, strength training, or an elliptical machine. If you have joint issues, the elliptical is better. I have anxiety, so the gym wasn't a good option for me and I ended up never going. I instead bought an elliptical machine and I've been loving it. I've been feeling a lot better physically, more energy and better mobility. I will always have mental illness, but working out and routines keep me from spiraling into depressive episodes. Story 31. Honestly, having a joint, or if you disagree with it, CBD. Not a lot, just once a month to reset and have a full-on chill day. I haven't smoked weed in years and I miss the relaxing feeling it brought me. Made me put things into perspective and appreciate everything. It was nice to have a little bit once a month or so. Sadly, I don't have anywhere to get any anymore. I think it's great, and would it to be legal here in the UK. I do other things for relaxing, be it taking a bath, which I recommend people also do once in a while, or just going for a walk, but nothing beat that. I'd only have small amounts. I don't mind being completely stoned, but I'd much prefer only slightly being stoned. Kinda like when you get that slight buzz from a couple drinks of alcohol before being drunk. Kinda just drowns out the noise of life and its worries. Story 32. I found that keeping my hands and mind busy helped. Crochet, paint by numbers, punch needle, etc. I tried journaling, but I couldn't stay consistent. I tried daily gratitude writing, but realized that I was consistently writing about the same things over and over. Mostly keeping my hands busy creating something helps a lot. Story 33. Gardening. Especially if it's a plant you will use, I found herb gardens to be especially fulfilling for me. Journaling is great, but to expand on that idea is that you don't keep what you write. Examples are using a notepad on a PC. Some people may want to read that stuff later, I don't. So I do it in a way where I can get it out of me but not keep it to look at it ever again. Story 34. Since almost no one mentioned it, playing guitar. It's a struggle at first, but it's so rewarding when you manage to do something you have tried over and over again. And since it requires focus to synchronize both hands plus eyes, it's a great way to turn the switch off from everything that's on your mind. I guess that could be said about pretty much every instruments, though. Story 35. I'm surprised no one's suggesting playing instruments. Tried meditation, yoga, sports, and nothing was working. But I've recently started playing a new instrument, and it's giving me such a daily relief. It's just me and my instrument for at least 30 minutes. Music is involved. I'm taking baby steps, make mistakes, and let myself be surprised of the progress each day introduces. It's giving me peace, and at the same time, I'm learning something. Story 36. D&D. If you're not into fantasy tropes, find a game with a more interesting premise for you. My game is set in modern-day London right now. D&D is amazing for making sure you regularly socialize, use critical thinking and tactical decisions, laugh a huge amount, and act out therapeutic or cathartic things in a safe environment. Cry, laugh, murder a proxy for someone who wronged you, self-actualize through a character that just so happens to be a different gender to yourself, but that means nothing at all until it does. All sorts to explore. Story 37. Not trying to pigeonhole everyone into participating in one particular activity and expecting good results across the board to this has been good for my mental health. There's no one-size-fits-all for this because people are all unique individuals and will respond differently to different experiences, even at different points in their lives. If you'd told me 30 years ago that I was going to travel around the country in a cargo trailer with no running water and live alone in the woods 80% of the time, and it would be the best time of my life, I would have signed you up for the loony bin. Now I'm hoping I can keep it up a few more years before I'm not physically capable of it anymore and have to settle down in one place near people. LOL. This is what's good for my mental health now, but it definitely would not have been 30 years ago. And it probably wouldn't ever be for 90% of the people out there, because we're all different. Story 38. Doing inventory of complications in your life. Everything outside of basic necessities. And subtracting where needed. Edit. In society, we're encouraged to take on more than the basics of life, and sometimes we find ourselves stretched too thin by all the complications we take on, good or bad, so you just have to step back and simplify until you can handle more. Story 39. Combat sports, any one of them. It's easy to put yourself down as weak or incapable when you've never been in a fight, but the first time you take a punch and realize that not only did it not hurt as much as you anticipated, but now you've got the energy to start fighting back. That's when you start to recognize untapped potential in yourself. I believe every kid should learn how to defend themselves in school. I was the quiet kid in school that got bullied. It stopped the second I beat the out of one of our worst bullies in the hall between classes. Story 40. There's no one-size-fits-all, but you want something that engages all of your senses and helps you go into flow. People think of switching your brain off as relaxing, but that's not relaxing. That's surviving burnout. If you really want to do something restorative, it has to be fully engaging and get you into a flow state. Not just a distraction, but fully engaging on every level. For me, that's martial arts. That won't work for everyone. Story 41. Any hobby involving exercise. I am an active person, but I do not enjoy going to the gym and I'm very overweight. However, I discovered bouldering and it was such a great workout. Also, it's extremely satisfying to accomplish a path on a bouldering wall, especially because I really thought I wasn't capable of ever doing that. Weightlifting is also satisfying. Also, crocheting puts my mind at ease sometimes. Although the last pattern I tackled made me want to rip my hair out, but when I finished, I've never felt so accomplished in my life. Story 42. I don't want to say reading self-help books because I think they can be a trap in itself, but at least making a point to engage with practical knowledge of how to improve your life. And most universally, I'd say personal finance. A world of anguish can be avoided by knowing best practices and reframing how you think about the utility of money, which also includes things like becoming conscious of consumerism and finding how to live a life that you desire that is still compatible with your finances. Educate yourself on this by consuming a lot of easily digestible material and then dive deeper on the specific parts that resonate with you. If you don't feel in control of your finances, you can make leaps and bounds in your contentness by making it a more conscious part of your life, without necessarily making any higher income. Story 43. Honestly, almost any hobby is good for your mental health. Pursuing things just because they're interesting to you with no need to be productive or accountable is great for your overall well-being. I like archery. It gives me a chance to focus and be almost meditative when I release the bow. I like woodworking and leatherworking because I have something concrete to show for my efforts. I'm a teacher, so my day job efforts are rather intangible at the time. Story 44. Preparing one's own food in any step, growing, quality checking, cooking. The disconnect between the most essential aspect of any creature's main duty and their everyday lives has meant that any charlatan can step into that gap and sell you their wares of manipulation and greed. Food shouldn't be cheap, and its lack of quality and production is the first step in disrupting one's own ability to make decisions for oneself. Taking control and doing one's best to maintain one's moral and qualitative duty to the structure and material of one's own body is the best way to enact the most important decisions of anyone's lifetime. Story 45. Meditation or mindfulness practices for me. It's not something that comes naturally for everyone at first, but dedicating even 10-15 minutes a day to mindfulness can make a world of difference. If you're not into traditional meditation, activities like yoga or even mindful walking, where you focus on your breathing and surroundings, can have similar benefits. Story 46. Meditation or mindfulness practices for me. It's not something that comes naturally for everyone at first, but dedicating even 10-15 minutes a day to mindfulness can make a world of difference. If you're not into traditional meditation, activities like yoga or even mindful walking, where you focus on your breathing and surroundings, can have similar benefits. Story 47. Not exactly a hobby, but it can involve a hobby. Socialize, find some people to hang out with in person. I know it's hard for introverts, as I am one myself, but if you can find a couple of people to talk to, have fun with on a regular basis, it's so much better for your mental health than being constantly alone. I was diagnosed with general anxiety disorder almost 20 years ago, and I know firsthand that being alone with your own thoughts can exacerbate that condition. Go find some volunteer work and meet people that way, or find a group that likes to play card games or board games. It doesn't have to be a big group, but you need to find a handful of people you can talk to and have fun with. Story 48. Hiking and rambling. Join a group that does it together every week and commit to doing it. Bring snacks and hydration. Engage folks in conversation. Take photos of the beautiful places you walk through. It's good for your health and your mental health, and you'll develop acquaintances and friendships. Or if you've got plenty of money to spare, motorcycling. Again, join groups of riders who ride out together to bikers' cafes. It's loads of fun. You develop your skills, so there's a dopamine hit. It takes about 300 kcal/hour, so you might lose weight if you don't go for the big all-day breakfast. And you make a bunch of mates who are also into biking. You might live far apart over a wide area, but once you have friends that are less than a day's ride away round trip, you'll go see them because getting there is fun. Story 49. I like doing origami. Mom taught me when I was a kid. I was bored at the restaurant waiting for food, or at the doctor's clinic, or in queue in a public office. Mom always had a piece of paper to make a couple of jumping frogs, a boat, a bird, a plane, or whatever. As most of them are made with a square piece of paper, I always had some leftovers to make a smaller one. Now I'm having a bad day in the office. I take a minute to fold a piece of paper. It puts order in my mind, and I feel like I put order in the space around me. My friends' kids are bored and start to be annoying. Folding a piece of paper with them and playing with it is better than giving them a tablet to isolate themselves. When I was in university and needed a mental break, I made an origami. Story 50. Board games, RPGs. I see a lot of solo hobbies on this post, and a lot of them are great for time to process. But the thing I've seen in my work as a therapist that affects people's mental health the most is the lack of a support system. Having a social hobby that also encourages positive social skills, great for teaching kids too, really helped me build a friend group as an adult that I wouldn't have had otherwise. Story 51, astronomy. Although if you live in a city with terrible light pollution, you'll have more mental health stress. But go look at the sky at night. Learn the constellations, pay attention to the planets. Buy a small telescope, you'll see star clusters, better planet views, and get a deeper sense of our place in the universe. Getting intimate with the sky is a great calm hobby that is available to all. Just look up. Story 52. All the obvious ones. Journaling, walking outside, reading, but one that has helped me greatly is learning to play guitar. Music has a deep meaning for me, and learning to play my favorite songs has helped me kind of understand where I was emotionally during certain times of my life. Now, playing guitar and singing help me to be authentic instead of constantly trying to copy everybody around me. Story 53. Anything that boosts serotonin levels. Connecting with people in real life over a screen may boost dopamine, but it's not the same neurotransmitter and doesn't last as long. Better than nothing if it's your only choice, though. Contributing in a meaningful way could be small, medium, or a big thing, so long as you're recognizing the significance. Volunteering feeds this one a lot, but so can taking care of pets or plants. Coping with meeting basic needs. This one is so underrated and incredibly important. Move your body in a way that feels good to you. Drink water, eat food that nourishes you, get good sleep, or focus on good rest. Practice mindfulness. Go outside for fresh air, even for a few minutes. These seem boring, but they truly make a huge difference. Story 54. I think hobby just make PPL forget about how bad their mental health is. But it does not really solve the problem. Just stop overthinking and live the best of your life. You can improve your mental health. How to stop overthinking? Just be overthinking until you're so freaking tired of your thoughts, then you'll have a more positive perception towards your life. Trust me, because that is how I form my positive thoughts. Story 55. Things that distract or quiet my brain. Building Legos. Jigsaw puzzles. Specific video games. Stardew, BG3, Papers, Please. Cooking, baking. Nighttime walks with headphones. It's just so quiet and not many people out compared to daytime. Journaling, everything. Weekly schedule, meal schedule, to-do lists, feelings, notes of gratitude, monthly goals, books I'm reading, etc. Reading, with headphones and music. Coloring, music or TV on. ETA. My monthly goals help me keep on track with what I need at the time. Could be as simple as drink more water than last month. I'll also add social goals. Have friend time twice a month, for example. Story 56. Unless you often have dark thoughts that make you a danger to yourself and or others, I'd say going shooting at a safe gun range is a fun activity as long as all the rules are being followed. Hell, when I actually have dark thoughts, my guns actually make me happy because the machinery of them is so cool, and I would never want to hurt anyone with them, even if I had no choice. If not that, then even just drawing or writing can help sometimes, and it doesn't have to be a journal either. Keep coming up with fictional stories? Start writing fiction. I'm in the middle of writing 2 entirely fictional stories right now, and I have like 3 to 10 others in mind that I hope to get to eventually. And in my spare time, I will edit images together as possible book chapter cover art. I don't use AI, and I plan on commissioning artists if I need something specific that I can't find, or if I ever get published, which is definitely the end goal. Even just buying and putting together jigsaw puzzles can be a worthwhile pastime that has the potential to help alleviate mental health issues for the time being. Hell, I sometimes play video games, watch movies, or just sit on YouTube for hours to help distract me from my life issues. Sometimes, oh Mao, if I ever had the patience to do it, I would even love to learn to animate. It would certainly make some of my fictional stories easier to tell and more fun to digest for visual audiences, although reading is very underrated, and I say that as someone that has read all of like 10 books, so I'm not even a bookworm. Story 57. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the right academy is great. Improving your physical conditioning, feeling better about yourself, learning new things, meeting new people. The grind of learning a new technique and applying it in a spar, getting recognized for your efforts as you progress and for your technique is a great feeling. It is pricier than other hobbies. Gym membership can be $150, $200 a month plus GI cost, but it's my favorite thing to do after work or to start the weekend. Story 58. Take up a musical instrument or singing, even if it is just making up silly songs about what you're doing. I'll sing songs to myself or to my family whenever we're doing something as simple as making dinner. It gets especially fun when my wife and kids get involved. It helps us connect with one another and usually ends in laughter. Story 59. Puzzles. I love puzzle books that are more overall puzzles like Journal 29 books, 3 of them, Cipher Files, Sherlock Holmes puzzle book. I also get something called Escape Mail, which is getting a letter every 2 weeks, and being full of puzzles on an overarching storyline. I even spoil myself and get a new one of those really thin notebooks that always come in sets of 3 for whatever new book/series I'm starting. I have lots of completed books. I love the daily NYT puzzles, and I do the vulture.com 10x10 almost every weekday. I have a bit of brain damage from a diabetic coma and ongoing low blood sugars, so I'm really committed to try and keep my brain sharp. My type 1 is fine. I was DX 32 years ago. What a lifetime. Story 60. For those, it is possible for meditation. Not necessarily a hobby, but it can be integrated into other things. Going on a walk, find a bench and just be present for 10 minutes. Turn off all that you have to do, all your stressors, thoughts of work. Just exist. When you come out of it, you'll usually find the stuff you're stressed about is temporary and can be handled one thing at a time instead of all at once. Story 61. Shooting. If you never have, it's a great way to therapize yourself. If you are anti-gun, especially those that have never shot before, go give it a shot. Literally, worst case you hate it, but you'll know why you do. Don't be the kid who only eats chicken nuggets and says, I don't like it, when they never tried the damn squash anyway. For the record, I'm a firearms professional with 20 years experience, and I've seen a lot of people get pure childlike joy from mag dumping into some trash, or hitting a bullseye, or just giggling with the recoil. Story 62. I used to walk everywhere. I walked 4 miles round trip to the grocery store every couple days after work, and it was awesome. Hiking was great and easily accessible in mid-Missouri, so was kayaking. I just moved to southern Arizona, and it has its own perks, but I lost all of my hobbies since I moved here in August, and it's too hot to just leave the house and walk at any time. Story 63. Dedicated exercise of any sort. There is no medical intervention half so effective at improving all aspects of health, including mental health, presuming, of course, that your baseline health allows for exercise. Weightlifting and recording my progress is my cup of tea. There are a zillion apps that will help you do this. Pen and paper works well too. Seeing my strength gains from one week to the next is so gratifying. I feel terrific after I complete a hard set or a hard workout. Every aspect of my life has improved as I've gotten stronger and more fit, especially my mental health. It can take some effort to make it stick as part of your lifestyle, but it's absolutely worth it. It doesn't take much. 30 minutes 3x a week is plenty, and you can always do more if you wish. Story 64. Nature hikes, watching a comedy show, and volunteering for charity, hospital. One gets you surrounded and connected with nature, one makes you laugh for a time, and the last makes you meet and talk to people, and in the process, help you understand all you can be happy for what you have. If the COVID era taught you anything, simulating the complete opposite of COVID lockdown should be more of what you need. Story 65. Stargazing. I bought a cheap $20 telescope before I went to a national park for glamping. I can't camp for, and the cabins were cheapest during COVID. I think it's worth seeing the Milky Way at least once. One day I want to see Aurora Borealis in person. There's just something therapeutic seeing the dark sky littered with stars, and if you get the chance to see the Milky Way, it's soothing to see how everything feels insignificant in the moment. Story 66. Do something outdoor like a walk, hiking, climbing, mountain biking, Nordic walking, dog sitting, bicycling, and when doing them, turn off music, social media, and turn your mobile quiet or flight mode, and let yourself emerge with nature and your surrounding and your slice of life. I also recommend, when having good relationship with family, to do stuff with them together, and at best everyone turn in their phones unless they expect an important call or such on that day. Play a board game, cook or bake something fun together, etc. Mainly giving social media a distance is good for mental health and depending the screen time on them. Pick up a book, start painting, drawing, writing stories, play an instrument, play D&D not online if possible, or other board game or card games. No gambling. Story 67. Pottery at my community college got me through some tough times. I can't afford to shell out for a membership at a pottery studio, but I can spend on clay every now and then. It was truly meditative. Something creative to do with my hands, and it felt fulfilling because it was also challenging sometimes, and I could watch my improvement in the quality of my ceramics. And having something useful that you made with your own 2 hands is pretty nice too. They make great personal gifts. Story 68. I can't say enough about yoga. Not only is it a much better workout than you think, but honestly, if you commit to it at the end of the session, your mind is empty, and you'll have the best night's sleep going. Chuck in a Radox bath when you finished, winner. Story 69. So, besides walking and exercising, I have started vlogging. I chose a specific topic that has been sort of a passion of mine for many years. It's been fun to create and edit the videos. I've only made a few videos so far, and I haven't gotten much traction on my channel yet, but that's okay. I'm still enjoying myself, and I'm learning a lot about editing videos, etc. Also, I should add that as of now, I have not put any money into this hobby. And truthfully, you really don't need to at first. However, there are some options with a paid account that may entice you after a while. For me, I'm going to try the paid account so that I can make more videos and so that I can use the edited background feature. This is good for my mental health because it allows me to take my mind off of my Thai life. Story 70. Martial arts. Any type that fits your personality. Do you like working hard and getting that workout? MMA or kickboxing? If you're not much of a fighty person and just want to do self-defense, Aikido. I feel like for most people, there's something they could enjoy, if physically possible, of course. It trains your brain how to deal with your fight or flight reaction and to engage, take the first step. You learn how to control emotions under threat. It's also good to learn how to set boundaries and to build confidence towards the outside world. It's also good to learn how to fight and to fall in a good way. And of course, it can be a great workout. Story 71. Gardening. It is so good for your brain and mental health. It's also super important to have hobbies that you do solely for personal satisfaction, not to be graded, monetized, made into content, competitive, or to even improve your skills, just for your own joy. Gardening's a good one, but anything will do. A lot of people are missing that, sadly, with the cost of living crisis and everything turning into a side hustle or way to improve. Story 72. My first thought is anything that gets you out of the house and interact with other people, like going to the gym. You'll become healthier and stronger and increase your self-confidence. That said, however, I got into paint by numbers during the COVID lockdown, not only stress-reducing, but a big nostalgia trip since this was a big hobby in my youth, 1960s. Story 73. I'm a huge proponent for crochet and knitting. They're mindful, repetitive, and help soothe the mind. The big one for me, though, is that you produce something at the end. I hate to sit still while relaxing. Crocheting helps me feel busy and I can see my relaxation. Love it. Story 74. Getting a cat or fostering cats or volunteering with cats. The affection and purring is like a happy pill. I'm a huge dog person too, but dogs are a lot more work, so that's why I went with cat in my suggestion. For me personally, whenever I'm feeling down, I go for a walk and pet all the dogs. Works every time. I have a senior pup and don't want to disturb his slumber, which is why he's not my go-to anymore. Looking at him brings me lots of joy too.